Cigars are blazing, the whiskey's flowing. Tonight, the legends gather once again. Welcome to the iconic Barrel Burners Lounge, where class meets chaos and smoke fills the air. Entering the lounge with bourbon in hand, the time to smoke is here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Barrel Burners Live, presented by Barrel Burners.
Hello, everybody. It is Barrel Burners Live. We did not have to pay our roofie Terence to get here. He's here of his own free will, guys.
First time's free.
Yeah. Well, depends on how much fun you have. Sometimes the second time could be free. Third time. But man, I really appreciate you coming on this today when we reached out to you. Like I said, I didn't get much time with you in PCA. It was nice hanging out with you in Miami or last year as well. So it's good to get you on here. Y'all are one of the, and look at Dirty Birdie Jeff saying hi already. You are one of the big guys in the business. Yeah, Jeff's here. But yeah, we appreciate it, man, and really honored to have you. I think we had you during the COVID days. We had you on a Zoom with the club when we were still babies back then. But that's been. I was looking back through my list today of people doing that 4 years ago, and I was like, I got to reach back out to some of these companies. It's been a while since we touched base. So
I hope everything's all right with Jeff too. I know he had some stuff going on. So Jeff, hope everything's all right, buddy.
I'll put the comments so you can see them as well. But yeah, he said, good to see you, Terence. He's good. He's bouncing around. I keep him in line, but all is good.
Thank you.
Guys, Terence got rained out. He was going to smoke with us outside, but it's raining if you ask. But remember, subtle message. Go buy JFR 20 years. You won't be.
Whatever made you say that?
Yeah. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm smoking the Anniversary Connecticut in the tube. Gorgeous band, man. They did good on those colors. And then Oki has Rare Leaf, right, Oki?
It's the Rare Fusion Reserve.
Yeah, Rare Fusion.
Very nice.
Smoke in exclusive.
How old is that thing?
Yes.
What's that, 3-4 years old?
Is that the Toro?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years,
Yeah, that's what I think. I haven't seen that one in a while.
I hold on to the good.
You're just so old you forget where you put them.
Yeah.
And yes, that's hiding my own Easter eggs now.
All right, well let's get into testing Terence and seeing what kind of answers you got for y'all. The first thing I want to touch on: everybody knows Aganorsa, the cigar brand, but not a lot of people realize how many different other brands and cigars that come out of Aganorsa's factories. So I kind of wanted to touch on that for anybody new to the cigar world or anybody that did not know how much stuff Aganorsa as a company has their hands in.
Yeah, so Aganorsa's primary business from the beginning and still now, even though we've grown in other ways, is growing tobacco. So Eduardo Fernandez, the owner of Aganorsa, is one of the largest growers of tobacco in Nicaragua. He's one of the largest landowners in Nicaragua because he also has cattle farms, pig farms, slaughterhouses, all sorts of stuff like that as well. Aganorsa is an acronym. It's Agrícola Ganadera Norteña S.A.A., which means, if you think Aganorsa is hard to say, try saying that. It's basically Nicaraguan farming and ranching company is what it translates to. So it's a whole agricultural thing. And when he got started in the beginning, he really was just interested in the growing tobacco side. Over the years, we've sold to Oliva, Padron, Fuente, J.C. Newman, Drew Estate, Altadis, the good people, Roma Craft at Espinosa. You name them, we've probably sold at some point to them a few bales at the very least, or container loads. So that's the biggest part of the business. And then you go into manufacturing. So we manufacture our own brands, of course, but we also manufacture in fact, I use the people we make cigars for as one of the testaments to our quality is people like Dion Giolito from Illusion, Viaje, Warped, the list goes on and on. So we make a lot of cigars for other people. We sell tobacco to a lot of other people, and then of course we make our own cigars.
So how long have you been with Aganorsa now?
It'll be I'll be going on my 10th year December 1st. So that'll be my 9th year. That'll be a full 9 years December 1st.
And you're technically VP is what they categorize you as?
Yeah. So remember, the only title in a company that matters is owner, and that's not me. So, my technical term is VP of Sales and Marketing.
Okay. Because that was the next question. Like, what is under your hat? What are you overseeing? What do you do? Because, I mean, technically, everybody knows you as the face of the company because you're all we see. So you're who's out there. So some people may even think you own the company because you're all we see. So.
No. Eduardo's got the sweet deal. He owns the company, and I'm the one that's out there.
Yeah.
So again, I work with our sales reps on the sales side. We obviously sell throughout the country. So organizing the sales programs, launches, releases, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously on the marketing side, helping, involving myself in the design and the approach for different new products, as well as how we promote them once they launch and all that kind of stuff. So that would be in a nutshell what I do. But again, I've worked for family businesses my whole time in this industry. I'm not part of this family, but I am, familiar with working with families. And in family businesses, basically you just do whatever you're told.
Right. That's what I was going to say next. It's basically, what do you need me to do? I got you. I'll do it.
People just kind of, there's titles and things, but I don't think, you hold too tightly to the specific description. You do what you need to do.
Right. So being 10 years in, is there a cigar in your portfolio that you've actually had hands and helped blend, or do you stay out of that part of it?
So I never say blend because, I mean, what blending is like you literally say, I really think if we switched out this binder of Chilamate Criollo 98 Viso and we used the Condega farm, but instead of Viso, we use like that kind of stuff. I don't do that. And that is, to me, is blending. Now, okay. in terms of being involved in what ultimately the blend is and how it's presented, that is certainly something I do. So, for instance, like if we're looking to come out, I'm just making something up here. If we're looking to come out with a very strong cigar, and we're going to call it Simtex, and the blend is a mild, Connecticut. That's not going to work. It could be a great blend, but that's not the right blend for that particular project. And so a lot of my role is in that. Is this a blend where does it fit into the portfolio? Is it going to bring us any new customers, or is it cannibalizing the ones we have already? Well, how does it work that way, and how do we present it in a way that it's going to attract customers, it's going to attract people that like Aganorsa, and also attract, of course, new people as well. So that's kind of where I come into that process. I don't tell them, we really just need more Corojo 99, San Jose Lot 7, whatever binder. I don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more of a keep this in our portfolio, or give it to one of the other guys, let them try it that we do business with, see if they like it.
Yeah, and again, really, I mean, those guys all have their own palates. They kind of do, and most of the people we work with are very. And by the way, like I said, that's kind of what my role is. There's nothing wrong with being like, yeah, that's the blend that's going to be successful. That's the blend that's going to work for me. That's totally normal. But the people we work with mostly don't do that. They mostly, pick out their blend. They go down there, they look through bales, they smoke through bales. They say, okay, let's try it this way, let's try it that way. So. The people that we make cigars for the vast majority of them are very proactive in that process. So that there's nothing wrong with it either way. I just don't consider what I do blending.
Yeah, I guess it's a word play per se. Everybody can interpret blending different.
Yeah.
Are you picking every ounce of it, or are you tasting it and saying no, tweak it? So no, I definitely get what you're saying. So what made Aganorsa want to flip and start their own cigar line if they've been in the business so long, providing to everybody else? Was it like, hey, we can do that too?
It was just an organic process, really. Eduardo, he started growing. People started buying the tobacco from him. And the way he did it was really unusual. What he did was he just started growing. He brought these Cuban guys over from Cuba who had worked for Cuba Tobacco, and they had, because they weren't party members, they'd been kind of forced out of Cuba Tobacco and were retired. They were in their late 50s, early 60s. And the reason that they were forced out is in many cases, they were religious. When you try to join the Communist Party, one of the questions is, do you believe in God? And the correct answer is no. And and so they failed the test. And they'd say come back next year or whatever. So these guys, all this knowledge, were sitting there doing not that much, and Eduardo took them to Nicaragua and literally just started growing tobacco, which is unheard of. They thought the Cubans had decided they needed Nicaraguan tobacco and had sent a group to start doing that over there. Because when you grow tobacco, there's a huge cost investment involved. So nobody wants to do anything unless at the end of that long, arduous process, there's a buyer. But Eduardo just felt that if he had a good product, people would beat a path to his door, and it worked. And so he started off just growing. He was pretty happy with that. And then he got involved in manufacturing and distribution over time. Somebody would say, well, we wish you could make cigars for us. Oh, we wish you could do this. We wish, Pedro Martin, who owned Tropical Tobacco in Miami with a big distribution facility. He was looking to retire. He bought a lot of tobacco from us for cigars, and he didn't want to lose him as a client, I guess. And so he bought him out when he wanted to retire and took that over. So it was just really organic. Honestly, to this day, what he likes is the farms. He's a very engaging person, highly intelligent person. When you get his attention, he's very very interesting and somebody that I've learned a lot from. But he's not somebody that enjoys traveling on the road and doing events and being around a bunch of people and all that kind of stuff. He's just not. That's just not his personality. Which you'd be surprised by if you ever speak to him, because he's very personable.
Right.
But he likes the farms, and the rest just kind of came organically.
Okay, you got anything for Terence before I move on? I got you unmuted, buddy. Yeah, it's your wildlife in the background going crazy again.
I've got more of the end of the show questions that I'm formulating right now. So, the fun questions.
Oh, yeah. Good. Can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait to stump him. So, well, I'm going to touch on Supreme Leaf next. Supreme Leaf is become a big deal. Every time there's a new size, there's mass hysteria. Everybody's excited. Kind of like what you did this year. PCA, y'all released what? The international exclusives now for the U.S.
Yep.
So something as easy as giving us a new size and people go crazy. So how much does changing the size actually change that blend experience for the people smoking it? And how are y'all deciding what size is next? Is it just what the market's dictating at that time? Hey, we need a 660 or we need a bigger ring gauge, or everybody's buying smaller?
So it's a few great questions there. So it does change per size. There's two approaches to blending. One is you try to make the cigar taste the same in every size. So the Robusto is one ratio of tobacco, and then on the Corona they start playing around with that to create the same experience that the Robusto has. And then on the Gran Toro they do the same to make it be constant throughout. There's always nuanced differences, but their goal is that whatever size you smoke, it tastes exactly the same.
Yeah.
Other people do it where the blend speaks for itself in that particular size. And with Supreme Leaf, we've taken that approach where each size is not being adjusted to taste exactly like the last one did. It's just the same tobaccos, but their ratios change depending on the ring gauge and the length. And that's been a successful way of doing it, because you're never getting into something that it's kind of like if you like bourbon. If I have a new one for you, you know what you're getting into. You might not have liked it as the previous one, or you might like it more, but it's not going to taste like vodka. So you're comfortable trying it because you know you like it in principle. And then there's nuances that are there that will be your favorite bourbon or your less favorite bourbon. And so it's the same thing with Supreme Leaf, where anytime you smoke the Supreme Leaf, you know the blend you're getting, but how it'll react in that size is going to be a little bit different every time. And people sometimes love one size and they don't like another one as much, or they like them all, but they have their definite favorites and ones that they only smoke certain times because they find them stronger or whatever it is. So that's part of the fun of the whole thing. No,
yeah, you just said it perfectly. That's what I was going to say. Part of the fun is seeing how it changes from each size. And I don't know if we're being trolled, but I'm going to cut to a viewer comment for you.
Oh, no.
Tony says, question for Terence. What do you think the best way to light a cigar is? So I don't know if that's an inside joke we got going or not, but I figured I'd call that out to you real quick.
Well, I did a video about how to light a 10 by 100 video, so that was a little bit. No, I mean, what I always say is what you like goes with what you like. I mean, some people say you've got to light a match, and then light a piece of cedar and then do the whole thing. And then other times, I think the two things that dictate it is kind of what you're doing. So if you've ever been to a high-end restaurant, they serve you wine, what they'll do is they'll do this thing where they take out like a match and they like put it under the bottom of the bottle so they can see the dregs, so the dregs don't get poured into the decanter. And there's this whole very much ritual. And does that matter? Yeah. If you decant the wine and it's chilled at the right temperature before you drink it, and that whole process, that absolutely has an impact on the experience to some degree. If you're at Chili's and you got a bottle of Merlot in twist off caps, you don't need to do all that. You know what I mean? It's like that's not a real necessary thing, and it's not going to change the enjoyment. So I think sometimes, like, are you smoking something special? Are you smoking something that you can't get again? You might want to take the time to really do all the rituals with that to maximize the experience. If you're smoking a cigar while you're mowing the lawn, I don't think you need to do all that kind of stuff and get out the cedar and do that. The one thing I would say is that what I see people do all the time is they put the flame directly into the wrapper, especially on Connecticut's, and you just see the whole side of the cigar go up black. And that always depresses me because it's like, oh, please don't light it that way. You're probably gonna, ruin it, and then you're gonna blame us because you think it's our fault. And so that's really the only rule I have is, however, whether it's a torch or a piece of cedar or a match or a soft flame or whatever it is, just be gentle and light it up properly. That's all.
Well, yeah, it's part of the routine. I mean, like you said, a nice cigar, a celebratory stick. You want to kind of pour that nice glass of bourbon or wine, wherever you like. Take your time with it, enjoy it, because that's probably the last one you're going to get like that, especially if it's something limited or rare. So, yeah, the scorching of the cigar, all they're tasting is burnt leaf at that point. So it doesn't matter.
That one always depresses me.
Well, since you got JFR shining, making us all want to go buy it, your guys' portfolio, you have a wide price range, like you should. You have your JFR, which is a very approachable price, and you got your rare leaf and your anniversary, your limited releases. So how hard is it to kind of protect and do the quality of tobacco while still having such a broad line and price point of cigars?
Well, one thing I would also say is we try to make it be a value at any price point. So, like as you mentioned, Anniversario. So our Anniversario 5 to 7 year old tobaccos inside definitely are for our core line brands are crown jewel. But still, they retail under $20 before your state tax or whatever. 12 to 20 depending on the wrapper, the size and everything. So again, is that inexpensive? Is that something that a lot of people could afford to smoke every day? No, but certainly compared to what it's competing against, much less. I think one of the things we always want to go for is when somebody both looks at and smokes one of our cigars, that they would say, "Oh, I would have paid more for that," or "I would have expected to pay more for that." So that's definitely one of the things that we try to do across the board there, whether it's bundles or ultra premium, is make sure it's a good value. And then again, there's different people for different products. There's like JFR is a perfect example. It's been 20 years success from day one, and it was a simple concept. Hey, let's make a cigar that we could charge $20 for and sell under 10. No bells and whistles. It's not an exciting cigar in this terms of the story behind it. It's not, and again, it doesn't. We didn't ferment the tobacco in a North Korean nuclear reactor and grow the seeds from Castro's beard and all that stuff. There's no story like that to it, but it's just delicious. And so if you just want a delicious cigar, no frills, no stories to go along with it, JFR is for you. And so that's a different customer, and then we have our Guardian the Farm lines, which mostly tend to be smaller ring gauges, more boutique sizes. We use tobaccos that that type of consumer will be more curious about. So the JFR consumer doesn't care what type of tobaccos we use in JFR. They just want it, they like it or they don't. Other than maybe wrapper, okay, I like Connecticut, I like Maduro. But you start talking about Corojo 99, Corojo 98, they don't care about any of that. Whereas the Guardian smoker, you tell them that the Cerberus has the 2012 Cuban seed varietal Corojo used in it. It's one of the first cigars to have that varietal. They're interested in that kind of information. They're like, that makes it more interesting to them. So what you're trying to do is try to think of who the customer is that you're trying to appeal to, and come out with something not only in taste but also in presentation and price and packaging that is going to entice them to not try it just once, which is the goal here, is to make them smoke it over and over and over again as a regular rotation cigar. So that's not easy, but the more you put all those factors into your thinking process, I think the more likely it is to happen that you'll get that.
Well, you guys do a good job, because as us as consumers, anytime we can smoke a $8 to $10 cigar, thoroughly enjoy it and say, man, I'll put this up with any $15, $20 cigar any day of the week, that's a value for us. A cigar that good for that price point, and that whole JR line is always pleasant. I mean, it's never a bad burn, it's always a good smoke. And I think every brand needs that. Yeah, I think that every brand needs that. You need that stepping stone. You have this entry level that smokes just as good, if not better, than some of the limited editions. You need all that, and you definitely need limited editions for us people with FOMO that's got to go out and get them because they only come out once a year or once every 3 years. So,
and keep in mind that because we're vertically integrated, that makes it much easier for us to do that. I mean, JFR could not possibly be sold for the price point it's at if all we did is own the trademark in the cigars. The tobacco was grown by other people. Another factory made it, and all we did is buy the end product. It would be impossible to come out with that price. So whether it's Anniversario or JFR or our bundles or Guardian the Farm, it's always going to be a more attractive price than it would be if we weren't vertically integrated.
And that's a great point. You can do what a lot of other people can't do. So doesn't hurt either. Your YouTube videos.
Yes.
Aganorsa seems to be taking a different approach where they want to educate more than just sell cigars. I mean, I like the videos. I like watching the little snippets of you at the factory, or the whole validated thing you guys did. I mean, it's all genius, but it seems like it's more. Well, you do the sales, but it's also more educating. So what do you think cigar smokers still misunderstand about most tobaccos, whether it be the wrapper, strength, the fermentation, where the flavors come from? I mean, what do you see is still misunderstood, even with all the education we have out there now for cigar smokers?
Well, again, there's a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of different information. And so there's a lot of things like the one that always is the best is that the wrapper is 90% of the flavor, 80% of the flavor, 74%.
The darker the wrapper, the stronger the cigar is what you were taught your whole life.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so even with, I would say that there's a public perception perhaps that, darker the wrapper, stronger cigars. I would say within the industry, most people realize that that's not the case, that a cigar doesn't have to be, is not necessarily stronger because it has a dark wrapper. But I would say that there is a very common, I think I hear people in the industry say about how the wrapper and these percentages, I don't know what experiment they did where they came up with these numbers, but 75%, 80%, 90% of the flavor. I mean, that's just made up. I mean, there's one, how did you come up with that determination? I mean, you can't put the cigar into like a machine and it does a process of where it comes out with a report that says flavor 75% wrapper or whatever it is. So there's a lot of stuff like that and sometimes that controversy is interesting to jump into. One of the things I've noticed about with social media videos, if you suggest how to do something a certain way, people are pretty good about it. If you tell them not to do something, they almost always go nuts about that. They get upset. And a couple of years ago, we made these videos for new smokers, how to cut a cigar, how to light a cigar, how to ash. And so the only reason I did it this way is I've never seen anybody that knows anything about cigars do this. So I said, when you put the cigar out, just leave it down. Don't jam it into the ashtray, like a cigarette or something like that. And again, I've never met anybody that knows anything about cigars that does that and at least doesn't realize that that's not really what you're supposed to do. So I presented it as don't do this. And it was amazing. Like the comments were like, I can smoke my cigar however I want. Don't tell me what to do. Like, all right, man. So like you have to suggest. You can't say don't do this because they get, unless you just want you want to troll people with, and then
it's the keyboard warriors out there that get offended the easiest. So
yeah, I know for sure. But it was just funny to it was shocking to see how many people were upset by that.
But you'll be surprised of how many people that are new to the cigar world and culture that will get on YouTube and look for those videos. How do I cut? How do I light? What's the difference in the cutters? What happens if my cigar goes out? Do I relight it or do I get a new one?
No, for sure. That's all stuff that people are afraid to ask, and so they look it up. I think I don't know if it's still the case, but the number one cigar-related search was, "How do I smoke a cigar without getting sick?" Nobody's ever goes to a store and says, "Hey, I want to smoke this but not get sick." It's just guys are not like that. They're like, "I know what I'm doing," and they don't want to admit that they need help or whatever, so they go online and they look these things up. So yeah, a lot of what we do is stuff like that, thinking of people that don't have those answers and haven't been in the industry and don't have people around them that necessarily guide them through their journey.
Well, it's genius, because 10 years ago when I started smoking cigars on a regular basis, I didn't know how to retrohale. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Everybody's saying you get so much more flavor retro, you got to try retro, and I'm here looking like I'm having a stroke out here trying to figure out how to retro, and I had to go look for different videos like, okay, how do I do this? I'm not a smoker. I don't know how to blow smoke through my nose, so it took a good week of bouncing around finding videos, and it finally clicked, and it's like, okay, I can retro now. So
yeah, we got one of those too.
I was one of those people looking for videos. How the hell do you retro? But yeah, I think it's great, and it makes you guys more approachable. So I'm glad there are people out there that are big names that are putting content out like that to help the new people get along. So I definitely, whoever's idea that was, if it was yours, kudos to you. So that was great.
I don't have that many good ideas. What I do is basically I listen to other people and I pass their ideas off as my own. And I've had a very successful career doing that. So I'm going to keep riding that train as long as I can.
Yeah. And then Tony just mentioned another one of those don't do's. He says he works at a golf course, and it drives me nuts when someone cuts way past the cap on a cigar. They cut a quarter of it off, and it starts unrolling on them.
Decapitate rather than haircut.
Right.
And you hit on part of it is you were talking about, the misconceptions about how much flavor wrapper gives and blends and stuff like that. And I always bring it up, and I give Jason a hard time because it only took him 5 years of listening to me to start venturing out into the world of Connecticut's. And the Aganorsa core line, 5 or 6 years ago was what I introduced a lot of people to as far as a Connecticut cigar goes, because it had a good spice profile to it, but it wasn't an overly aggressive cigar. Yeah. It was very, very smokable, and it wasn't your grandfather's Connecticut that was out there that smoked like paper. And, and then now with the Validacion line is I push everybody toward that. It's just like, well, where's my palate at? I don't know what I like. And it's like, here's this sampler. I want you to go buy it and smoke them in whatever order you want to smoke them in, and then tell me what hits your flavor palette, and kind of go from there. But yeah, that Connecticut that you had years ago, and then even in the newer version of it, is something that I always push everybody toward, that says, oh, I don't smoke Connecticut's, they're weak. And it's like, well.
Now, and that's a good segue, because my next question was something similar like that. It's like you always hear people say, I don't like Connecticut's, or I only smoke Maduros, or I only like small cigars. So do you think cigar smokers box themselves in, chasing certain wrappers and names and not going out there and trying the other things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what I usually say when someone says, I don't like Connecticut's, I go, I don't either. Try ours. And ours does not taste like a Connecticut.
No.
It has none of that. This sounds negative, but that acrid taste you can sometimes get from Connecticut doesn't have that papery taste. It's like a Connecticut. It's like a disguise. It's a disguised Connecticut. It's not. The wrapper is there for aesthetic. It's a nice looking wrapper, and you just get our Nicaraguan binders and fillers. And I smoke that cigar more than the Validation Connecticut, actually, because it's so versatile. I can have one, I can be satisfied with one. If I'm going to be visiting a lot of shops throughout the day, it's a great one. I lean to it because I don't want to get overwhelmed by the end of the day with 5, 6, 7 cigars. I can keep smoking that one and not be overwhelmed. So it's just a great versatile cigar. But one of the things we try to push all the time is stop boxing yourself in and saying, I don't like Honduran tobacco. I don't like Dominican tobacco. Nicaraguan cigars are too strong. Connecticut's no good. And again, you can also get to a point where you have a good sense of whether you're going to like something or not, but that tends to be more based on companies than anything else. I'm not a Connecticut guy, but Aganorsa is coming out with a Connecticut. Let me try it. Or I'm not a Dominican guy, but these guys, I like their cigars, and they've got a Dominican blend. So let's try it out. So usually, as you learn, you'll start trusting certain manufacturers more, regardless of the blend details.
Oh, what I tell people, they tell me they don't like a Connecticut. I go, okay, tell me what you smoke. Have you smoked a modern day Connecticut with transition and spice and flavor and pop? Mm-hmm. It's a totally different world out there. That's why Okie said it earlier. We call them our granddad's Connecticut's, the old ones. We don't touch no more, but what you guys are doing, and it seems like all the boutique brands now, that's the Connecticut's we're getting, where if you closed your eyes and somebody cut it, lit it for you, and you smoked it, you would not even know it's a Connecticut.
We never know.
Way of knowing.
Yep, and that was going to be one of my questions to you here in a little bit, and you kind of already hit on it. Is, I mean, you a lot of times are out and about, and you're all day at an event or something like that, and you're talking your sticks and stuff like that, So I was going to find out, hey, what do you grab as you're sitting there smoking all day long? Because again, we do our cigar events and stuff like that as well, and it could be 6, 7, 8 cigars in a day. So how do you, which ones do you kind of gravitate towards to kind of keep it going? And the Connecticut makes sense to me.
Yeah, if I'll either just stick with the Connecticut, or towards the end I'll change it up a bit. But I almost always start with the Connecticut, and many times I never venture away from it. I enjoy it. It's satisfying. If I stop, I'm good, and if I keep going, I'm not overwhelmed.
Yeah, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So you've been in the industry a long time, 10 years with Aganorsa. What is the cigar smoker in today's time, 2026, looking for that you guys are seeing that 10, 15 years ago wasn't a thing that they wanted in cigars?
That's a great question. So big ring gauge has definitely become a standard size. I think 15 years ago, they were kind of like
petite Coronas and Robustos, basically.
And there was big ring gauge back then, but it was kind of considered like a novelty or a fad, and it wasn't going to be something that was, and it just done nothing but grow. I mean, I remember when I was working for my uncle at Casada, in 2011 we did the Oktoberfest, and one of the sizes I wanted to do was a 6x65, and he was just like, who in God's name is going to smoke something that big? And now that's not even that big a cigar. I mean, it's
770 is the new rage now. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then our number one SKU is an 880, number one.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a great consumer because that's all they smoke. So take you guys, for instance, let's just say, taking you out of the industry of doing this, you're just consumers, right? And you like Aganorsa. How long does it take you before you smoke that same Vitola and blend again? So you have, a rare leaf, Maduro, and a Robusto. How many cigars do you smoke before you get back to that exact same SKU? 10, 20, 30?
100.
Okay, so 100. So that's perfect. So 100. So while you smoked 100 cigars, that guy that smokes that 8x80, that's all he smoked. Now, he probably didn't smoke 100 in the time that you smoked 100,
right?
But he probably smoked 50 or 60, and they were all the exact same cigar. Mm-hmm. So that customer is a great customer for the retailer. It's a great customer for us because they're very brand loyal and size loyal. It's easy to plan for them, and you can count on them. Whereas that's everyone always says, why don't you make more Lanceros? Because the Lancero buyer is the total opposite. The Lancero buyer wants to try every Lancero on earth. They want to buy one. If you're very lucky, maybe they buy a box of it, and then they'll just start looking for other Lanceros to buy. And so from a business perspective, it's very hard to say, okay, let's come out with this brand that this very small portion of the market is going to smoke once and then never again. So So that definitely trend has shifted a lot. You've gone from more traditional sizes to a lot of big stuff, and obviously we deal a lot in that. But it's not just us. Obviously, I mean, you're seeing many companies include that. And if a company comes out with 3 cigars now, or 3 sizes in a line, one of them is a 60. Almost always, very very rare that a 60 wouldn't be one of the 3 sizes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't get it. I get bored quick. I don't want a cigar that lasts me 3 hours. I would rather smoke 2 separate cigars in 3 hours time. That's just me though. But we had Matt Booth on here a month or 2 ago, and we were talking about PCA. They did a 770. I said, Matt, is that worth putting out? He goes, man, you got to have that SKU now. He said that's one of our biggest sellers, believe it or not, a 770. And I'm just shaking my head like, why? How?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's this quiet majority. And again, you have to keep in mind too. Let's say you smoke 1 cigar a day, just one, and it's $10. That's
Uh-oh. The 770 mob got him.
Oh yeah, they took him out.
We'll give him a second, guys. We will be letting you guys ask some questions to Terence at the end. So think about some questions you want to ask him. We'll see where he went.
Yep.
And we'll get him back in. I don't know if the storm knocked out his power and his internet, but we will see if we can get him back in here.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
I'm not about the ring gauges either, Jeff.
Yeah, and elaborating on that is, I mean, you see a lot of these guys that are coming out and put stuff out, and if they put out 3 in a line, ordinarily, I mean, well, even go back and look at some of the other manufacturers that, one gentleman that puts out a specific cigar, and he puts out 4 different sizes in it, but it's very, very specific. He's got a Corona, a Robusto, a Toro, and he's got a Torpedo in it, and that's pretty much what he does every year, every single time. And the biggest ring on it is a 54. So, I mean, really, you see everybody that really does that is they put out that 548, 550. They'll put out that 650 to 654. They'll put out that 660. And then you just don't see Coronas anymore. I mean, if you're looking at something that's, 4 3/4, 44, 46, you just don't see a lot of guys putting that out, which, breaks my heart because that's kind of the wheelhouse that I like to smoke in.
Yeah, I did do some 660s in a day on the CAO side of things, but my favorite size is a 52 or 54. That's kind of my sweet spot. I'll do a 50 every now and then in something, depending on the cigar, but I like the 52 to 54 ring gauge. I think that's personally, especially if you're giving me a Torpedo.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you, brother. Yep. You went completely black. Yeah, we
can't hear you.
We hear you though.
I'm gonna pop out and pop right back in. I don't know what happened here.
And I think all of us have done it. I mean, as we ran the gamut of cigar vitolas. I mean, some of the stuff that we didn't believe that we would enjoy. I mean, some of these cigars that some of these other manufacturers put out, that their sweet spot has always been that 50 or 52, and then all of a sudden they throw out a 60, and we're like, what are you guys doing? And then it becomes the best cigar in their lineup, like they blended it perfectly. Like there's a house blend.
They're back. Can you hear me?
Right.
There we go.
We hear you. You hear us?
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
We back. We hear us.
Wait, are you talking?
Yeah. Can you hear us now? Woo.
I don't know what's going on here. I can't hear you.
He decided he wanted to keep it to 40 minutes. This is how he's going to do it.
Let me try it again. I don't know.
Yeah, we definitely hear you. I'm not sure.
But yeah, even going back to, you hit it was the Supreme Leaf and all that other stuff. I've still got 3/4 of a box of that, of the Corona size that they had. And then I've still got 4 or 5 of that, the Churchill that they put out. That was that smaller. It was the 746. And that thing was amazing, and it's kind of, where do you go with it?
Can you hear us yet?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Good.
Jesus, I don't know what happened there. Sorry,
technology,
guys.
Man. It was the 770 committee. Huh?
How long was I talking before with nobody? Even
you went completely blank immediately, and we had nothing, no video and no sound from you. We didn't hear anything you said.
Yep, you were just saying something about you're discontinuing all your 660 line and going back to Coronas, and then you cut out. I don't know what happened.
But yeah, you got the most important point. That's
yeah. We were basically touching on like it's now a must. You got to have that skew of a 60 ring or a 70 ring.
Did you get to the point where if I said if you blend for the size, it's actually
no? We missed all that.
Oh, geez, I talked for like 5 minutes without. So basically, if you blend to the size, you can make them taste really good.
And that's what CAO does.
When they did it back in the day, I think they were just like they were kind of like, who's going to smoke this? Just fill it with filler or cheap filler. But if you blend to the size, you can get a very complex cigar. I'm not a huge fan personally. I just don't like the size. But taste wise, some of our cigars are most flavorful on a 70 ring. The Lunatic El Chiquito Habano, that might be the best tasting one. And I've even had guys try it that don't like big ring gauge. There's a guy in New Hampshire that says, "I'll never forgive you for getting me to smoke these things. Now I'm smoking them, but I love the flavor, but I hate this size." So you can make them taste good. That's something I definitely learned here.
Yeah, the Lunatic,
the Chiquito. God bless.
That Lunatic special. What was it like a? Shoot, it was a small one, maybe like a 5x60 with a shaggy foot. Y'all did in a small box.
Yeah, there's the short Titan 4 3/4 by 60, and then there's a short Robusto 4 3/4 by 52.
Yeah, I definitely smoked several boxes of those when that dropped. That was a good one. So
that became a game to find out who on Herfs was willing to retro hail that Chiquito Habano the most, and it got quite entertaining. There were a few teary eyes, and it was like watching people do a hot wing challenge.
Yeah. Well, as long as you've been in the industry, you know cigars and you know blends and you know what you like now. So hypothetical, if you could walk into y'all's factory tomorrow, there's no marketing department stopping you, no price target, no production limitations. What are you making? What kind of wrapper? What size? If Terence is making Terence a cigar and nothing could stop him, what is he making?
Terence's 10th anniversary cigar. That was going to be my other thing is are we going to see a Terence's 10th anniversary cigar? So this segs perfectly into that.
There you go.
Oh my God. Yeah. Geez. Yeah. I don't think the company's requested that to be made yet, but when I turned 40, which is a few years ago now, these were not sold. I just made them for myself. I made 40 bundles of 10. And it was basically like a jacked up Supreme Leaf, and it was super strong. You couldn't smoke them all the time, but it was great. It was just like it's funny. I gave them to a couple of retailers that I just know. I'm like, hey, we made this, and both of them were like, what, do you not like me? Why did you give me this thing? It's so strong. I almost fell off my chair.
Heart palpitation.
It was very strong. So that I would probably remake that. It was the Supreme Leaf blend, but like jacked up, and it was 5 5/8 by 46. It was a great size.
Wow, that's a lot of flavor in that small ring.
Many bundles left?
Yes,
I have nothing actually. I have it. Although no, it's funny once in a while because I handed them out and stuff. I'll be someplace and they'll give me one. Who might? I don't know if he has any. He has some, but he got some. Was James at Harrisburg Beer and Cigar. So you can always harass him, see if he has any left. I mean, he didn't sell them, but like he
challenge accepted, some. Burners. We will find them if they're out there.
I was going to say Harrisburg, PA.
Yeah, Harrisburg, PA. Harrisburg Beer and Cigar.
Yeah.
And James Garcia is the guy that asked. But he had
Pratsy's in chat right now. Pratsy, go grab us some.
Yeah. Pratsy, that's your mission right now.
I don't know if he still has some, but he had some one time in like a year or so ago when I was there, and he gave me one because he's like, do you have any more of these? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, here, have one.
That's funny. Yeah, we will definitely. He said he's loading up his car now and going. So.
Maybe call ahead. See if he's got them.
Well, he lives in PA, so he's probably not far from him. So
hey, it's a big state. It's a big state. And Harrisburg's right in the middle. So
we just actually had a meetup in Harrisonburg at where'd our guys have it at? I'm blank now, but we just had a Barrel Burners meetup there. Gilbertsville Cigar Factory.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah, they did it there. Well, this is another good one for you, but your big portfolio, Aganorsa, what do you think is your most underrated cigar in the line that people should really try?
It's a great question. I would say probably. Well, it's kind of discontinued now. So I'll give you two. One is called Buena Cosecha. If you can find Buena Cosecha, that's a great cigar. But it's discontinued now, so there's not much of it out there. That was a cigar when I joined the company. I was so impressed by when they gave it to me to try. It just never was successful, though. It's just it was a brand that was there before I joined. Again, Buena Cosecha means good crop, basically, and the name, unless you speak Spanish, doesn't mean anything. It's kind of a funny, and so it just wasn't right. But the blend was great. It was that was special. Today, I would say probably the Guardian of the Farm Night Watch is underrated. It's a great cigar, and I don't think enough people have tried it.
So the one that was discontinued, what do you think was the problem? Was it size or was it the makeup?
No, it was the names. It was just the name. It was packed. It was hard to tell it was Aganorsa. When I first joined, the band looks like something out of a Chinese restaurant. We changed the band to at least say Aganorsa on it, but it was just too little, too late, and it just didn't have. But it's kind of like one of these underground cigars where people that know a lot about us will mention that. They'll be like a cigar they'll test to see if you really know Aganorsa. They'll be like, "Oh, you've heard Buena Cosecha?" They're like, "Yeah, I love that cigar." And then you're like in the club if you know and like that cigar. So it's got a little bit of an underground following there, but yeah, just has never been successful. Yeah, never.
So you just keep that one in your back pocket now, and y'all rebrand the label, and it'll probably be a hit next time.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, like that's been a lot of the. I mean, with the Validation line was a rebrand of the Casa Fernandez versions of those cigars. We didn't change the blends. They sell a lot better now than they did before. Presentation is super important. I mean, it's very hard. You have to remember, most people don't spend time listening to podcasts about cigars and discussing cigars and trading cigars. They just go buy cigars and they smoke it and they like it or they don't really. And so when they walk in that store, you've got to get them, and you've got a couple seconds to do that. And the more complicated it is and the harder it is to understand, you're just going to miss out on a very large segment of the market if you don't make it easy.
Yep. I tell them to try everything. I do a Coffee and Cigars live every Sunday, and my challenge to the guys in there every Sunday is try something new this week you haven't never had. Let's talk about it the following Sunday. So I try to encourage everybody to keep that palate developing and constantly try new stuff, and don't just stick on the same 2 or 3 cigars every day. Even though you love them, there's great stuff out there.
That's the great catch-22 of the business is that on the one hand, you can't acquire people if they won't try new things. On the other hand, you lose people if they try new things. So it's always that balance of you want them to date around, but then you want them to marry you.
Well, the next question, you kind of touched on it, but maybe you'll have a different answer asked this way. You touched about how you smoke a lot of the Connecticut, especially at events and everything. But I always like to ask people, if you could only smoke one for the rest of your life out of Aganorsa, what are you going to take?
Well, I mean, I like the Rare Leaf Maduro is my favorite cigar. I just couldn't smoke 6 of them a day. But that if I'm going to have one cigar, and I'm pretty sure all I'm going to have, Rare Leaf Maduro is going to be. In fact, that was what originally I think I was going to smoke if I have been able to go outside without this rain. So I love that cigar. Just rich, full bodied, but not spicy, but rich. To me, that's just a perfect cigar.
Yeah, I actually think I like that one more than the Supreme Leaf, and the Supreme Leaf is great, but I do like the Rare.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the Maduro. The first Rare Leaf releases, I love the Supreme Leaf better than that one. I mean, Supreme Leaf for me is one that I love, but then you came out with that Maduro, and it was just all of those espresso notes to it and all those really heavy chocolate notes and things like that, and the Maduro that I just loved. And I'm the same way. I mean, if I'm just going to grab something, I want something mellow, whether it's going to be with a cup of coffee in the morning or something after dinner, then that Maduro is just a great grab.
Yeah, you can't beat it. You're preaching to the choir.
No, you can't beat it at all. And remember, guys, JFR 20th anniversary. I don't know what would make you want to buy it, but look at that box. Go get them.
Yeah, look at them right there.
Now we're going to start some controversy in the cigar world. What's one of the trends in the cigar industry right now that you wish would just fucking go away and disappear?
Trends. What would I like to go with? No, it's funny. I hardly think about that. I spend so much time observing where things are going. I hardly ever question whether they should go there or not.
You just go with the flow.
I go with the flow, to be honest with you. So I would have to really think about that because I never think of it in that way. I just say, okay, it's going in this direction. Well, what does that mean for us? How do we react to that? It's
Jeff says high prices need to go.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I think I would say this trend is over. Otherwise, I would say this trend needs to go. But the whole during COVID, where cigars were all suddenly $20+ that was obvious, and that's already come to an end. But that was something that was obviously bad in the long term. We never jumped in on that. We didn't, and again, not to say that you can't have a cigar that's in that price range and worthwhile. There are, but when you just do it because you can, that's not a great combo for long-term success. And so we just didn't jump on that train. So, like I said, there's cigars in that price range that are certainly worth it. But there was a lot that was simply slapping a label on something that a few years before would have been half the price. So that would definitely something I'd like to see go away. However, I think it largely has gone away. Cigars are not, they're still higher than they were pre-COVID, but there's certainly the trend of everyone coming out with a new $50 cigar. That's over. They're not doing that anymore.
Well, a lot of companies now are using the term limited edition to throw out a $30, $40 cigar that's not worth it anymore. So it's still being done
well,
under the umbrella of limited kind of edition.
Yeah, and again, it depends on why is it limited, what's special about it. So the only cigar that we've ever done that's over 20 was our 25th anniversary cigar. That was that retailed for almost $30. There was only 1,000 boxes. The box, some of the money went into the box. Just to be honest, It was a really nice box. Cigars aged after rolled for an extra. It ended up being 2 years, but it was supposed to be a year. It took a while to get everything arranged. So there's an argument to be made. A limited cigar should take more money as long as it's genuine. And honestly, what's the determinant of if it is or not is if you smoke it and go, that was worth it. And if you do that, it's worth whatever you paid for it. And if you don't, it wasn't, whether it's $5 or $50, it doesn't make any difference. The idea is that when you're finished the cigar, you say, that was worth it. I would do it again.
Yeah. And Daniel said flavor cigars need to go away. That's the fad that needs to go away for him.
Oh, well, again, I think we'll be out of business if they do that, because that is such a large part of cigars. When they say, these cigar imports of 400 million, I mean, with flavor, that's got to be a lot of them. So
50%.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's that high. So I mean, I don't smoke flavored cigars, but I will tell you this: it gets a lot of people into the cigars and become interested in cigars. The guys that really succeed at making that, I have a lot of respect for, and I think they've helped us. Certainly, I can't tell you how many people I've met that smoke Aganorsa that say, I started off with a flavored and came into traditional cigars as time went on. And so thanks to those guys, we have a lot of customers we wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, I keep a few flavored in the humidor from when first-time smokers come over and I'm smoking a cigar and they want something. Yeah. It's like, here, try this, and it's not going to kill you. You're not going to bust your ass, and you'll be over there puking. You'll be able to pick out flavor. It's enjoyable. There's a place.
I don't think you can go to a lounger shop anymore and not see a humidor flavored and infused. And usually it's fairly large facings. And they do a lot of that for just I'm going to smoke one for a bachelor party, or I'm going to smoke one, just because of whatever, kid born or whatnot, that, aren't going to go over and grab something that's more of a New World cigar that's, just tobacco. They got to have a little something extra to it.
Sure.
Yeah, and my next question is about limited editions, but we kind of touched on that. But the other thing is social media plays a huge part in cigar companies now, success or bad reviews, and everybody's opinion these days. And palates are subjective. I mean, if I say a cigar is bad, I say it's bad for me. You may love it. My palate's different. I still encourage you to go try it, even though I didn't like it. You might. But do you think social media hype affects the way people judge cigars before they even light it? And
I think for a very small group of people that has a meaningful role. I don't think that many people are, if any social media group came out and panned a new Opus or Padron or Davidoff, it wouldn't make any difference to those companies' bottom line. I mean, they would be totally unaffected by it. So I think that there's definitely a group that I think when you're small, a lot of those guys can help get you to the next level, and build awareness for you and build excitement, which is really important. So if you're a small new company, certain guys on social media get behind it, really start pushing it, or excited about it. That can really help you at that stage. But once you're in that at least mid-tier level of brand, where you're putting out a lot of cigars, you're selling nationally, you have 1,000 accounts nationwide, you're selling maybe internationally, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really have as much of an impact in any one moment. It does overall, if you take everything all together, and being on different podcasts, different reviews from different people, all that type of stuff, it can add up, but it doesn't necessarily kill you or anything like that at that point. It's just, we're ultimately a small group. It's not that many people. And it's in a small industry to begin with, in an industry of, just to give you an idea, the last 4 or 5 years, the U.S. has imported 400 million cigars or more into this country. Never before had it ever reached that high. And Swisher Sweets makes, I think, 1 billion units a year just of the Swisher Sweets. And then you get into like cigarettes and their billions, and then you get into businesses like oil and it's trillions. And so cigars is not a big business in terms of volume or dollars. And so it has that kind of high school feel to it, where it's like, oh, Susie says I'm stupid, it's the end of the world. And it's not really the end of the world. It's just that you know Susie, and it hurts that she said that about you. And so I think that is more of the impact of it, is that we all know each other, and when somebody says something negative, they take it more personally because of that familiarity.
I think that was a perfect answer, because I see social media as being more of a help, especially for the smaller brands, getting it out there. I never let a review dictate if I'm going to smoke it or not. What I like finding in a review is the flavor profile. I want to see if I can pull out the same notes. I could care less if you like it or you love it. I want to smoke it and see if I like it or love it, but I want to see if I can get the notes you get and see if I'm anywhere on the same page with my palate. And that's how I take it.
Sure.
Okay, you got anything? I see you thinking over there. You're pondering.
So, you were kind of hitting on it as you're talking about these smaller boutique brands and stuff like that. And Aganorsa's predominant thing, especially to get started, was to provide tobacco for all these other folks. How many people would you say in a year do you have approach you that's a smaller boutique company, whether that's going to be their first cigars, second cigars, maybe they're moving factories based upon availability? How many of those phone calls or emails or face-to-faces do you field in a year?
I would say, I mean, beyond a very, like, I would say I get a lot of inquiries. Something that moves beyond an email to me, where the guy says, "Hey, I've got a wedding and I need 12 cigars," or I'm gonna be opening, my business in 5 years. I need, like, that kind of stuff. I'm not counting, where it's just clearly from the start not something that's going to work. Stuff that is to some degree explored, I'd say at least a couple dozen a year, that where you're talking to somebody and you see how far it's going to go and how it works. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Sure.
And you've seen some good ones come out of there already. I mean, we're friends with some companies that do cigars through Aganorsa, and they're great. So you've seen some winners hit. I mean,
no, for sure. You at the end of the day, you want everybody. I'm one of the worst people to talk to about if you want to do a brand, because I'm so negative in the beginning, because I don't want the person to feel that I tricked them down the line into doing this. And what most people believe when they do a brand, not everybody, but the vast majority, they believe they're going to come up with a cigar that is going to be so good, and people are going to appreciate whatever story they have behind it so much that it's just going to be a gangbusters. And that is so rare that it would happen that way, that it's like counting on winning the lottery or something like that. It's just so unusual that you couldn't possibly do a business plan like that. So most of the time, when I start off, I kind of do this very depressing story about how likely it is to fail in this business, and then if they're still interested, then we can talk. Now, again, if they were working with somebody else and they're coming to us, I don't give them that spiel because they obviously know the difficulties of it, or they wouldn't be switching factories or whatever. So, but in terms of new people, that's always the first thing that I kind of hit home with, is that this is a long, slow process, and the way that you will be successful is not the way that you think you're going to be successful.
And that's the best approach to it too, because I mean, there's so many different blends out there. I mean, what's going to set that one person's apart from everything on the shelf already? And it ain't only blending; they got to get it in the consumer hand. What is the next?
Yeah, so yeah. The retailer's got to like love it so much, and they're going to put it in their store. And then with all the other cigars in the store, people are going to walk in and buy it somehow. How are they going to even know about it? You know, the retailer is going to hand sell it to all of them. Good luck, with that.
Yeah, you're asking a retailer to take spot off of his shelf of cigars that's selling to put something that's untried yet.
And then do work. He can put certain cigars on the shelf and sit there and watch them sell. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why is he going to put a cigar that he's going to have to probably be involved in pushing? Now, I'm not saying there's not a reason for them to do that. I'm saying that you have to have answers to all that stuff. And the idea that I can use you guys. You talk a lot about cigars. You hear all sorts of stories about cigars. When was the last time that you were just like, oh my God, that stuff? Like you were just blown away, and you're like, I gotta smoke this now. And probably not that often. Maybe, I'm sure it happens occasionally, but you hear so many things all the time, and a lot of it is a slight variation of another thing. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes very difficult to differentiate yourself in that way. So it's something that you really have to think about, like, how is this going to work where I'm going to somehow be perceived as different than all this other stuff in here?
Yeah.
Well, and on that, I mean, you've got a lot of these other bigger guys that, that we follow, your brand, you mentioned, brands like Espinosa, you've got AJ, you've got all the rest of these that they'll put out a cigar. And of course it's like, oh, heck yeah, this is their best cigar they've ever put out. But they have so much other stuff that they've already established. And I would probably say that there's probably one or two people that we've come across in almost 8 years now that their initial cigar was a home run. I mean, this was a Bo Jackson in the All-Star game kind of home run.
Yeah.
That, that really happens. And I mean, I right off the top of my head, I can think of like 2 or 3 that really happens with. But a lot of them, being a more established brand, that all of a sudden it's like, hell yeah, I can smoke this thing. This thing is great. It's amazing. But they also have 20 other SKUs out there in 3 different Vitolas that they can back it up on. So if you buy the new one, great, but you're still going to buy, 15 of these others.
Sure.
Yep. That is a very good point too, Oki. Criticism. All companies get criticism. Have you ever heard any criticism towards Aganorsa where you were like, you know what, that's a fair point? And if you did it change any ways y'all did anything or any certain cigar?
That's a great question. So when somebody, what I like is specifics. I look at 2 things. Do they have specifics? And then is this something I'm hearing commonly? So so if you say, Terence, I went out and I bought a fresh pack of the Validation Connecticut, and the cigars all were over humidified or under humidified or whatever the problem is. So that's a very specific problem. I would work to fix that problem specifically for you. Now, if you're the only person I heard this of, I don't even think about it again. I try to make you happy, and then that's it. Now, if I hear 10, 15, 20 other people with the exact same story, now I'm like, oh, we've got to look at what we're doing in the factory to resolve this, because obviously there's a problem. These people don't know each other and they're all saying the same thing. So those are the 2 things I look at. And it also is something to look at if it's not even valid. So like if they're saying something again and again, but it's not something that's true, you start wondering, okay, why do they think that? Or what are we doing that it gives that perception? Or is there somebody out there saying that or whatever it is? So you try to be, it's very hard in this business. For me, I would say that's a benefit I have. I'm very objective in this regard. I think also, again, it's not my company. I think with manufacturers that their cigars are like their babies, and you say, hey, your baby's ugly, they want to punch you in the face. Like for me, if you're telling me your genuine experience, I listen to that for sure. I try to resolve that for sure. And then I try to determine if that's something that is a general problem, or is that a problem that it's just specific to this instance? Because a lot can go wrong. I mean, if everybody, sometimes, for instance, like everyone going into the same humidor says the cigars are dry. Well, okay, is it us or is it the humidor? Now, if they're saying they're dry and they buy it from 12 different places across the country, now is it everybody's got a bad humidor, or did we do something wrong? So those are things you just try to look at and you try to be objective about it, and then ultimately just fix the problem so that the consumer's happy, and then you don't get more people that are upset about things.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point. Jeff, all right, thank you for coming. Jeff's got to get back to the hospital to his dad, guys.
Yeah, please. All the best, Jeff. Thanks for coming out here a little bit.
Yeah, and you got to vet those people, because the worst thing I see, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and what bugs me the most out of people, they'll post a picture of a cigar that blew up or burned wrong. And I'm like, guys, they're handmade. It's going to happen every now and then. Don't bash the company. Don't look for a free stick. Just throw it down and light you another one. Just let it be. It's going to happen. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with the brand.
I'll tell you a trend I wish would go away is all the experts. That would be a trend.
Yes.
All the people that are suddenly experts somehow. Like it's shocking to me. Like again, and I would never say, like you asked, you blend cigars? I say, no, I don't blend cigars. But I've been doing this 20 years. I've literally worked in factories. I worked for my uncle. I lived in the Dominican Republic working there. Like, so I know more than the average bear about the whole process and whatnot. And people will literally argue with me, not only about cigars in general, in terms of how things are done, but about how we do things. Like they'll tell me like, you don't do that. It's like, how do you know we don't do that? I literally see them do it when I go down there. It's like, who told you that? And then it's always kind of one of these, like everybody knows and that kind of stuff. So that would be it's funny. It's like these armchair experts.
Well, we live in a world of entitlement. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got it, but don't mean you got to say it. So just leave it be.
And I don't mind if it's your true opinion and you're being honest with me and it's your experience. I'm not upset about that. I'm upset when you're trying to tell me something that you could not possibly know. It'd be like me saying, hey, again, telling you about your home or something like that. Well, those pipes aren't any good. You'd be like, you've never been in my house. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you'd have no idea what I was talking about. So that's the part where you do tend to get some of that, where people will like become like experts simply by consuming a lot of information. They'll read a lot, and they hear somebody say something, or maybe they confuse it, or maybe whatever. But it's shocking to see all these people.
Oh, and I'm sure you deal with that a lot, especially when you're at lounges.
Or you read publications.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to misconstrue it. Like I would say most people are super interested in learning. Like they're much more interested in, hey, what's this? You'll hear all the time, I'm not an expert. So more often than not, the people are just starving for knowledge and are very humble towards the whole process that they recognize they know nothing about. There is a growing trend of people that will try to tell you like how you're doing things and how you're doing them wrong, and they've never been in a factory. They're not in manufacturing. It's like, how did you become an expert on this?
Yeah. It makes you scratch your head for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I got two more questions for you, and then we'll let Oki go, and we'll let you say anything you want, Terence, and we'll take a couple questions from that and get you back to your family. But hypothetical, if there was a voting poll on y'all's website tomorrow, and the Aganorsa smokers got to pick the next project, and you could put three things on that ballot, what would it be? Would you do like a new Supreme leaf size? Would you do a completely new blend, or would you bring a throwback release? What three things would you like to see on there the fans could vote for to be picked?
What things do you think they would want to see on there, or what things would
you would want to see on there voted for?
Yeah. So for instance, like I hear all the time Supreme Leaf Lancero, like, so I don't want to do that, but like I know if I put that up there, it would be at least with the accolades. Yeah, I think three things. I think probably I'll put it up there just because it's what they want. But I'll say a Supreme Leaf, either Lancero or a Supreme Leaf or a Lancero sampler, something like that. They would definitely be enthusiasm for that. Not for me, but from them. I think doing something with the bringing back the Mombacho brand. The Mombacho brand is our brand. The reason it doesn't exist anymore is that it's our brand, and the people that were using the name, can't use it because it's ours. Those old Mombachos were incredible, that we made back in the day, the thermonuclears and everything. So I'd like to see maybe that be an option, and then to bring back the Aniversario Maduro, the original size we did in 2020. That was a 109 at box press 109, I think it was. And it was made in Miami, and that was just an amazing cigar. Only 500 boxes were made. It was delightful. And
wow.
if you can find those, by all means, buy them.
Oh, that definitely needs to come back. Pratsy says box press need to go. I'm a box press fan, so I'm going to say no. We need box presses in the portfolio.
On both sides, I like them both. I like it's really my mood. I like box press, and I almost have no inherent. If you said I could only have one or the other, it'd be a tough choice for me. I like them both.
Depends on the mood at that moment when you're asked.
Yeah. Mine is there was just that influx of a lot of people doing box presses. They didn't do them well. Like you had burn issues and stuff like that. I think it's moved a lot away from that. The soft box presses and things all burn a lot better now. So
soft box press is really the box press. I don't like a rectangle. I like a soft press.
Yeah, and now I'm backing off of my. I know box presses suck. I have backed off of that in the last couple of years, but still, I'm going to buy a round cigar quicker than I'm going to buy a box press if there's the two options laying side by side. But folks are getting better at it.
I don't think Oki's evolved. I think the box press has evolved because the soft box press has been a game changer. Honestly, it has changed the whole mindset for a lot of people on the box press side.
Yes, soft press is what you.
Yeah. Well, last one I got for you, Terence. Outside of the cigar business, what's something about Terence Reilly that people would never guess?
People would never guess.
What's Terence into other than cigars?
I like to read a lot, but
I would have never guessed.
There you go. Yeah, I like to read. That's a big passion of mine. So
good deal, man. Well, Oki, what you got for Terence?
Well, my three questions we've already kind of hit on just in the natural flow. I mean, the big question was, congratulations first off on almost 9 complete years with Aganorsa.
Thank you.
Been a fan of the brand. Whenever the rumor was Casa Fernandez is going away, I went absolutely hog wild, finding every box of everything that I possibly could out there because I loved them so much. And then the validation series came out, and I was like, okay, cool. I've got a lot of great cigars stored up, but doing that, I mean, I think was a great move to kind of unify where your brands were and to get to a certain number of names sitting out there on shelves and things like that. But again, looking forward to what you guys are doing out there in the future. And again, we really haven't talked about the JFR 20th that's sitting there right off your shoulder. We've been into it for, what are we at, an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm a huge fan of the JFR line. I've always enjoyed those. So, I mean, that'd be my question is, what's going on with the 20th?
Yeah. So JFR 20 years, a couple years ago, mate, was, or last year. Last year? Yeah, last year was 20 years for the brand. It started in 2005. Started as a cigar, rolled it. It was a blend, created it an event in California. We used to bring rollers with us to the events. This particular roller rolled up this blend, and people really liked it. And JFR was born. And the idea was just to keep the packaging simple, no bells, no whistles, and create a great cigar at a great price. So 20 years to celebrate. We went the route of rather doing a JFR that was like $25 because it's the 20th anniversary. We wanted to keep true to the nature of what it made it successful. And there's 4 sizes, all in Maduro. They're box pressed instead of round like the regular JFR. So you can go either way here, depending on a box press or not. And there's 4 sizes. 3 or 60 plus, but there's a Toro 6.5 by 52. We call it Super Toro. So we wanted to kind of stay true to the value of what JFR is, but the blend is a little bit aged longer. It's using tobaccos that are different from the original. It's a very decadent blend, great flavor. Toro retails for $9.50 before state taxes or anything, so it keeps it under $10. And so it's been a hit for us for the same reason the original JFR has been a hit. It's just a great cigar without a lot of bells and whistles at a great value.
Now, is that one going to be constantly out now? Or?
Yep, it's a regular edition. Yep, it was always done that way. We brought it out to be something that we would sell all the time. It wasn't one of these. Oh, it's limited to how many we can sell, and then we can sell a lot of these. Let's just keep making it. It was always intended to be a regular line.
Yeah, and you can't beat that for the price point. That was great. All right, Chad, y'all got any questions? Drop them real quick so we can turn Terence loose. Let him go spend time with the family. And Terence, you got anything to say to us or anything that we didn't mention you want to talk about while they're dropping some questions to you?
Well, I want to give you a piece of my mind. No, yes, this was great, guys. Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful time. It's been a few years, so thank you for having me back.
Yeah.
We'll be going to the Dortmund show in a couple. I won't be going. Fabian Ziegler, our head of international business, will be going to Dortmund, Germany, in a couple of weeks. So we'll have some announcements regarding that coming soon. So stay tuned for that. And then everybody who's listening, we have a group on Facebook, Aganorsa Acolytes. Please join. 4,000 members, counting nationwide, worldwide, really. It's a great way to stay in touch. Like I said, I don't really have that many good ideas. What I do is I hang out with guys like you and the listeners, and I steal your ideas and pass them off as my own. And so I need you. I need you to stay in touch. And I appreciate the support. And thank you to you guys for having me.
Well, we thank you, man, for graciously accepting the invite. It took us a little while to pin it down, but we got it done. And definitely
let's get a flex. There we go.
We are all validated now, guys. Everybody's validated. If you were in chat tonight, you were validated. Just let you know.
It's like a blessing.
Official. You're now acolyte. There you go. Let's see. Hang on. We got a press. Pratsy's got a question. When did you decide to make the Anniversario Connie, and how long did it take to develop that blend? The Maduro's my favorite of the line, and I found the Connie to be a good twist on it.
Yeah, the Connecticut is the most popular one of the three, and it's also the most recent. It came out 3 or 4 years ago.
I love that one. Off the top of my head. That's what I have.
It's a great cigar. I would smoke more of those, but there's an expression in Spanish: "No fumes la ganancia." I don't smoke the profits. So the validation is a little bit more price conscious. So I don't smoke as many of the Anniversario Connecticut's, and it really just came about that at that kind of level we didn't have a cigar that was Connecticut. The Connecticut's were in JFR and validation. But once you got into our ultra premium lines, Rare Leaf, Signature, Anniversario, there were no Connecticut's, and so a couple of our reps suggested, hey, we think that this would be, if you come up with a good blend, this will be successful, because at that price point, a lot of people they want something that's high end, but they don't want something too heavy, and because they don't smoke that often necessarily, they're willing to pay for that quality. And again, if you look at Davidoff, if you look at a lot of the cigars that are in that 20 plus range, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are mild, and it's because a lot of times for the people that are smoking those aren't smoking them necessarily every day, but when they do smoke, they want that high end experience. And the Anniversario Connecticut was a gangbusters from day one. It's been a Cigar Snob. I think it was top number 2 or number 3 cigar of the year. It's just been a hit from day one. People love it. It's the best selling out of the 3 Anniversarios.
Well, I think it was a great choice to do, because I'm a firm believer in every line should have a Maduro and a Connecticut in it for that cigar, just to kind of catch both sides of the market. And it was game changing having that. Oh, one more thing I got, and we'll turn you loose. PCA this year, of course, you introduced the international coming to the States. Was that pretty much all y'all have on the docket for this year to be new, or y'all got some surprises coming before the year ends?
For what we released at the show is what was new. The International Supreme, the Anniversario that came in the Tubo, and then there was a Toro size of Lunatic Maduro. You'd think that we would have had a Toro, which is the most popular size and one of our most popular lines, but we didn't. So those were the only things that were and our Supreme Leaf sampler, the Supreme Leaf sampler.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, a lot of people like giving you the PCA, but then they surprise you around October or December with something else. Just making sure there's nothing going to jump out at us. That we
nothing that's nothing that's maybe a private label or something like that, but nothing from us or a nationally sold brand. And that's just because we want to really focus on the stuff that we have, make sure it's entrenched in the market, make sure people are enjoying it. If you come out with new stuff too quickly, something gets lost, and you really want to take the time and effort to establish what you got. So we've been more judicious in new stuff the last couple of years.
Well said. I just want to make sure we didn't need to keep our eye out for something that we had to run out there and get that was going to be limited or short run. And well, that'll do it. Okie, anything else before we go?
I got nothing.
All right, Chad. Once again, thank y'all. Terrence, thank you. And stay put. We'll end this, and then we'll talk to you a second and let you go. Replay's up if you're just popping in. The replay will be up live, and that's all I got for you guys. Thank you again, Terrence, and we'll see you next time. Flex on the way out. I'm going to give you both arms.
Thank you for watching Barrel Burners Live. See you next time.
Hey, man, we appreciate